Hello, I'm Afua Hirsch, and I'm delighted to welcome you to the European Parliament in Brussels. We're 1 year on from the launch of the Alliance for Youth pledge, which this time last year committed to generating more than 100,000 jobs and opportunities for young people across Europe. The 15 European founding partners are all helping to achieve this work. We're very fortunate to have some of them here with us today, as well as some of the interns and apprentices who are benefiting from the Alliance for Youth pledge. We'll hear from everyone during what we hope will be a lively debate with lots of solutions. If you want to join in the discussion, use our Twitter handle. You can see it over here, at Nestlé EU, using the hashtag Alliance for Youth. First, I'd like to welcome our guests onto the panel and thank them very much for joining us. We'll have European Commissioner Marianne Thyssen with us, along with European Youth Forum Vice President Luis Alvarado Martinez. We're also joined by senior representatives of the founding partners, Luis Cantarell from Nestlé, Christophe Cambornac from Nielsen, James McCarthy from CHEP, and Gareth Jenkins from DS Smith. Thank you all for joining us. We'll also have MEPs and other distinguished guests from countries right across Europe, and they'll be joining in the debate too. First, let's have a look at what's been achieved by the Alliance for Youth over the past year. Now, Commissioner Thyssen, we saw a lot of facts and figures during that video. What do you think of the achievements of the Alliance for Youth so far?
We can only be happy with first with the pledge from the Alliance, and secondly with the results, because you're running ahead on the commitment that was made before. And I think this is a good example on how we should proceed. And what we see in Europe in general is that growth is returning in all the European member states for the first time since a couple of months. We see it in every member state, but it goes very slowly. Unemployment is gradually going down everywhere, but also too slowly. And in the last year, we are happy to see that we have more than 520,000 fewer young people that were unemployed. So there is also an improvement in the unemployment situation or the employment situation of young people. But what we still see is that 1 in 5 young people still do not find a job. 1 in 5 young people that are looking for a job. And this means that we have still a long way to go. We cannot be too happy already now. We must build upon our successes, and I think this is a big success, and keep up the momentum. We owe it to our young people, and I think initiatives like the European Youth Guarantee, the Alliance for Apprenticeship, the Alliance for Youth, all these kind of initiatives are bringing bringing enterprises together with education institutions and training institutions. They give young people that are looking for a job, the chance to have experience on the work floor, and this is what we often see what's needed, because for many young people are often confronted with the reaction that they don't have experience, but they have to have the chance to get the first experience. And by this kind of initiatives, we are helping many young people. So it's a very positive experience. I'm happy with the results. I'm happy with the participation of so many enterprises, and I'm of course happy, and I can only congratulate those who took the initiative to do it. From the European side, we give a little bit of help. We have the youth guarantee that fits into this. How can I say this? This program fits into the youth guarantee. We help it with our European fund, with the Youth Employment Initiative. And I am proud to say, and I want also say a word of thanks to the European Parliament, that they helped the Commission with having voted the modification, the amendment on the European Social Fund to raise the advance, the pre-finance level of the Youth Employment Initiative, so that member states that have budgetary barriers to start projects from the ground can now start. And I think this is in the interest of all young people.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. We're going to hear more about some of that shortly, but Luis Cantarell, confirmation, if we needed it, of how important this project is. Now, Nestlé's been the driving force to getting close to 200 companies involved in this, and so far you've created opportunities for 50,000 young people, which is real progress. But are you going to be able to keep going at this pace?
Yeah, of course we will. Promoting youth employability is a business imperative. It is a business imperative all around the world, but especially in Europe. We believe in growth in Europe. We believe in growth in Europe based on science and innovation. For that, we need to make sure that we promote, that we give the right support and the right employability for the young populations. We want our efforts to create a snowball effect well beyond our direct influence. And our Alliance for Youth is still growing every day. As you mentioned, we have 200 companies, and we are going to communicate new members rather soon.
Thank you very much. Now, Eva Paunova, we're very kindly being hosted by you today. You are the youngest MEP from the Christian Democratic Group in Europe, and you've seen some of the work of the Alliance in Bulgaria, which is your native country. Tell us about your impressions of how it's working there.
First of all, wonderful momentum for the creation of the Alliance. It's amazing that we have 200 companies joining forces in order to create employment and trainees opportunities for thousands of young Europeans. But looking at the video, seeing this type of bubbles, or let's call them dots, I got reminded by what Steve Jobs once said. And he said that success is all about connecting the dots. In the Alliance for Youth video, we saw these hundreds of dots all across Europe, and connecting those and connecting them to young people really, I believe, is the road to success. And this is what I saw in Bulgaria, and this is what I saw that all these 200 companies pioneered by Nestlé and 15 other founding members are doing. They know how to build a professional team that is the key to success to start with. It's all about picking the right people and giving a chance to the talent and skills. And this is what we've been witnessing in the past year.
Thank you very much, Eva. Now, we've got some more statistics just to get a clear sense of exactly what has been achieved so far. So let's have a look at the results of a survey we conducted on the responses to the Alliance for Youth and what we can learn from this. Now we have Christoph Kambornak with us, who's the European President of Nielsen and a member of the Alliance and also the driving force behind this survey. Christoph, there's a bit of a vicious circle here, isn't there? Because we keep hearing that employers say that they need young people with experience, but young people say they can't get experience if they don't have experience. What is the solution to this?
Yeah, thank you. So certainly, as you've seen, what we're hearing really through the survey is there is a gap, right, between the skills that employers need from the young people and the learning that young people get today across Europe. So, and interestingly, you know, both population, the employers and the youth population, actually agree that part of the solution has to come from collaboration, right, between education, governments, and the private sector, the business sector. And through that collaboration, we believe, you know, we can find solution. So the Alliance for Youth is promoting this collaboration through a few different things. One is readiness for work toolkits. We work developing readiness for work toolkits, CV clinics, interview coaching. And the more we got to bring those, you know, skills and needs together, clutter one to the other, the more we believe, you know, that's going to help the outcome.
Thank you very much, Christoph. Now I want to come to you next, James, because you're doing a lot on readiness to work. Can you tell me about what you're doing with your partners?
Sure. So similar, we've run many programs over the last year in readiness to work, and there's really two different things we do. We do clinics, it was just mentioned, CV writing, interview skills. We do that in schools. We also then run assessment centres. And an assessment centre is a more involved process of actually giving potential youth the opportunity to go through that process, because it really prepares them for what happens when they try and join some of the bigger companies. We've just completed a very large one in Italy in partnership with Nestlé San Pellegrino, and that's a 3 or 4 day type event. So we reach a lot of people in an event like that, so it has a fairly major impact.
Thank you very much. And I want to come back to you again, Christoph, because when we're talking about young people, we never want to ignore social media. And I know that the Alliance has launched a Facebook platform. Could you tell us really briefly a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, that's a very exciting, actually, development. So, you know, interestingly, it's been developed in conjunction with students from Kriya University in Switzerland. And it's been developed by students, by young people, for young people, right? So it's not us here that developed the Facebook page, right? We love it, but it's been done by young, for young. And it's direct access to job posting from the different, you know, members of the Alliance. So students can go and actually, you know, find a job, find an internship over there on that page. But it's also giving a lot of, you know, tips and tricks around building a community through the Facebook page. So I just encourage all of you to just visit it. Really cool.
Thank you very much. Now, we're really fortunate to have some of the young people and apprentices here with us today. I want to come to you, Evie, because you were an intern at Cargill since December, and you now have a permanent job, is that right? Congratulations. Can you tell us about the experience you had, and we're interested as well in what kind of support you had whilst doing your internship?
Well, actually, I participated in a public-private project in Belgium, which aimed to bring together young professionals without any experience, like myself, with senior managers who have a lot of experience. It was like a 1-month job shadowing program, through which I had the possibility to get to learn Cargill from different angles. I could join in on different events and meetings, and it really gave me the opportunity to show what I am capable of. At the end, that one gave me exposure, knowledge, and a network, and ultimately it indeed led to a job offer. So,
well done.
Thank you.
It sounds, Luis Alvaro Martinez, that AV's experience was a high-quality one, and it's led to what everybody wants, which is a job. But can you tell us what the European Youth Forum is doing on the quality requirements of internships across Europe? And do you think that there's anything missing that could make schemes like these more effective?
Yeah, thank you very much. It is indeed great news, and we're very happy with the work the Alliance is doing. We're a bit more cautious with the future of the Alliance. We're really looking forward to the results. Because of the situation of precariousness in jobs and precariousness in internships for young people, the European Youth Forum parallelly developed the European Charter on Quality Internships and Apprenticeships. We've also developed an employer's guide to quality internships and apprenticeships to incentivize and show best practices to the employers of what are the benefits of having quality internships. And they basically focus on two main areas. So making sure that the internships or the apprenticeships have a strong educational mechanism. So it's not only about an outcome. Of course, the outcome is very important, but we don't want you guys to make photocopies and coffee. So we want you guys to have learning objectives agreed at the beginning with your employer. We want you to have mentors, somebody guiding you. We want you to have learning outcomes at the end, a contract where everything is defined. So all these things are important to make sure that this is a quality internship. And of course, it's very important to have a payment. Some people tell me sometimes in the different institutions, but Lewis, even though it's a free internship, we're giving them an opportunity to get experience. They don't get experience. And I said, okay, yeah, when I see all these, when I start seeing members of European Parliament and commissioners working for free to get experience they don't have, I'll start believing in unpaid internships. Until then, I'm sorry, we cannot replace interns with employees' spots with interns. We need them to have a minimum of reimbursement of payment, because it is unacceptable that the most educated generation in our history is working for free. So strong learning outcomes, learning objectives, and sufficient payment to make sure that these quality internships bring the best to the employer and to the young people.
Thank you very much, Lewis. Gareth from DS Smith, I'd like to ask you about your internship placement schemes, and how do you make sure that the young people doing them get the most out of their placements?
Well, the first thing I must say, actually, we pay our apprentices and interns. But there's three very practical things that we do. Firstly, we ensure that the apprentice has a discussion with individuals who are doing that sort of role before they decide to choose that particular apprentice and program with us. So that's the first part that we do. Second thing we do, we give them a mentor, someone that they've got access to, I was going to say 24 hours a day, but it's not quite 24 hours a day, but certainly for any help and guidance that they need. And the third part, which is, I think, is very key, is we give the individuals the space to be able to make decisions. We give them a job, and we expect them to make business decisions. And we understand that they might not make the right decision every single time, but what we realise is that people learn enormously from making decisions. And if people are learning, they're getting better. If people are getting better, then they're improving. And I know when individuals are improving, they start to enjoy the job. And if they enjoy their role, then I know as a business that we win enormously.
Thank you very much, Gareth. Now, we're hearing that there are some differences in the approach across Europe. I want to come to you, Sofia Ribeiro from Portugal. Portugal has a limited history of dual learning, really, doesn't it? Tell us whether you think that the country could benefit from more programs like this.
Well, actually, Portugal has a educational vocational program since which ended in 1974 and then restarted in 1986. And we still have a lot to do to reinforce the dual system in Portugal. We face two main problems. The first one is that we need to clarify the school orientation both in the lower and the secondary and the upper secondary level, and also in the higher education level. And we also need to make the Portuguese qualification framework comparable with the European one, and that is a key issue. But the second problem, I think it's common to all member states, is that we need to engage our enterprises in order to invest in dual learning in Portugal, but also at the European level. So the majority of the Portuguese enterprises are small and medium enterprises, and it's very difficult to engage them with schools and universities. And I think that's really the key issue, that we need to engage our enterprises in order to have a more modernized education. And the Alliance for Youth does that perfectly.
Thank you very much, Sophia. Agnes Roman from the European Trade Union of Teachers, I want to ask you about collaboration between employers and young people, and also the experience that you've had. I think you recently visited a Nestlé program. Tell us about your view on the progress that's making.
Yes, thank you very much. Actually, my organization represents teacher trade unions in Europe, and when we talk about apprenticeship, we realized, apprenticeship of young people, we realized that we tend to forget about the role of the teachers and trainers who should make the success of apprenticeship. And we know that the teachers should need more knowledge about what young people need at company level. Therefore, when we heard about the Nestlé pledge, our teacher trade unions were very much interested about the role of the teachers and trainers in the implementation of this Nestlé pledge. Therefore, around 40 teachers trade unions all over Europe visited, thanks to Nestlé Girona factory in Spain. And we saw that Nestlé is very exceptional, that it feels responsibility for young graduates to provide them work experience, which is paid, and which facilitates their future employability. Our colleagues from the teacher unions, they were very positively surprised that there is a company which has a high-quality training program and which engages VAT teachers in this program at the company level. It is not a common trend, unfortunately, in Europe to ensure pedagogical knowledge of the trainers and in the factories, and even to engage teachers to increase the quality of the program. This must be definitely changed. So we think that Nestlé provides an excellent example to be followed by European companies concerning teachers' engagement.
Thank you very much, Agnes. I'd like to come back to you, Commissioner Tayson, very briefly, if you could. Do you think that these dual learning schemes are the way forward for the whole of Europe?
I'm convinced that they are the way forward and that we can learn everywhere in all the member states. We can use it. It does not mean that we can just copy-paste the way it's done in one member state, but we have to look at the success factors, and this we can take on board and integrate in our own system. It's maybe not a solution for all the young people. Not everybody can go into an apprenticeship or whatever it is, but I'm sure that we can have, by doing nice offers, good offers to many people, we can help a lot of the young unemployed to really get into the labour market.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Luis Cantarell, how can we expand dual learning across more of Europe?
Yeah, I think that as has been said, first of all, it should not be only one approach to everyone. But what is clear is that companies should, first of all, better understand the benefit of setting up dual learning schemes. It's about companies, it's about teachers, it's about the education system, and it's also about youngsters. The outcome of the survey that we have done, plus the exercise and the examples that we have in some countries, we hope are going to give a kind of a snowball effect by which other companies, other associations will start looking at that. Within the Alliance, we share experience and best practices. The idea is that we can give a kind of model by which others could learn. For example, in the case of Portugal, the Alliance for Youth, in the case of Portugal, is making dual learning as one of the key focus areas for the future, and not only with big companies, but also with small and medium-sized companies. So we believe this is the future, this is what we need to push, and by the way, countries like Switzerland and Germany that has already the dual systems part of that shows that they have a better employability than other countries, so we should follow this model.
Thank you very much. I want to come to you, Pablo Valva. If this is the future, should internships and work experience be compulsory for young people?
Well, I don't like the word compulsory because I think we have to respect the freedom of the people. But from my own experience, I was an intern. I combined university students and work experience, and thanks to this experience, this gave me the opportunity to get a good job at first stage. This gave me the opportunity after that to get a good MBA in a good business school, and obviously probably this is the reason why I am here, that origin. So having said this, I think we need to look for the formula to give incentives to students, but also opportunities to students to combine university studies and work experience. Definitely this is a good formula. Those countries who have a dual education, dual formation, have performed from the employability point of view much better than others. So this is a formula, but not compulsory from my point of view. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Pablo. Renate Weber from Romania. People like Pablo have been getting the relevant experience after they left school, but do you think we need to have more of an emphasis on getting the right training and experience for young people whilst they are still at school?
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, I'd like to say that I have become a big fan of the Alliance from the moment I learned about it, and I visited Nestle in Romania and spoke with apprentices and trainees, and it was really a very enriching experience. Yes, I totally believe that we should start these types of apprenticeships and traineeships since early ages in the schools, in fact. Why? Because it's maybe a way to correct some of the disadvantages that the educational system still has, because the truth is that we do not prepare our young generation for what the labor market requires, but rather we are lagging behind. So we can correct through these types of schemes and help young generation to be prepared for the labor market. And I want to emphasize one thing which I particularly like in the Council recommendations on the quality of the traineeship, when they speak about the trans-border mobility of the trainees in order to get a genuine European labor market. I hope all the governments listen what I'm saying and the Council has written. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Renata. I want to come to you, Pedro. You're an intern at Nestle, and you started in Germany and have now moved from Portugal to Germany. That's right. And Renata was saying about the importance of mobility in the labour market. Tell us about your experience.
Well, 1 year ago exactly, I found that Nestle was launching its youth employment initiative, offering a 6-month internship in Germany. I've been before doing one Erasmus semester in Germany, and I knew right away that was my great opportunity to come back, but feeling a work environment. My time during the internship was really great. I got a lot of support from all the people involved, and after it, I got also a position in company. I'm still living in Germany. So I would like to enhance that. I'm just an example how this initiative works as a labor mobility program, and I found it's really, really important for our youth generation.
Thank you very much. I want to ask you, James, from an employer's perspective, what the administrative burden of taking on interns and apprentices is like, and whether it's a barrier at the moment.
Look, I think internal recruitment for us is part of a wider recruitment strategy. Of course, there's administration involved in recruiting anybody. I think you have to look at it slightly differently. For us, it's a real program, so we bring people in, we pay them, we offer them real jobs with real learning objectives, and it's a great source of talent. And I think you're seeing some of the people who've spoken here, and there's evident quality. So I think it's fantastic value for money. It's a fantastic recruitment avenue for us. So it's well worth any administration we have to do to get them on board.
Thank you very much. I think we're going to talk a little bit about funding, and I want to come to you, Jude Curtin-Darling from the UK. From the survey that we've seen, it seems that only around 10% of programmes are currently getting funding. Do you think that governments should be doing more to support them?
Yes, I do, is the very short answer. Politicians don't often get yes-no answers, but that's a definite yes. If we look at how much we spend as a continent on youth and employment every year, the European Foundation for Working and Living Conditions estimated that it's about 153 million euros a year. That's a colossal loss to our economy. The cost of a proper European youth guarantee is about 31. If we were really serious about youth and employment, and we have to look at the challenges that we face as a continent, the level of youth and employment that we have today, I think, is one of the key challenges that we face in the long term as a continent, then that should be right at the top of all politicians' priorities. But it should also be at the top of the priorities for business. And the Alliance is a really great example of companies who are willing to go out ahead. We always need companies who are willing to lead from the front. Like other MEPs, I went and visited a project. I went to the Nestle plant in Forden in Newcastle, where there's a whole stream of apprentices coming through. There are lots of great examples of people doing things, but it's a patchwork. What European funds need to do is to pull the patchwork together into a comprehensive policy so that we're not just supporting those companies who are willing to go out ahead, but we're also pulling the companies up behind who aren't willing to make the effort up front. And that's why funding's key. Unfortunately, from the UK perspective, I can't be so rosy. We have a government who have blocked European funds in terms of youth employment initiative funds, in terms of we haven't had the sign-off of our national operational programme for England. The northeast of England that I represent has the highest youth unemployment in the UK. Our young people desperately need the opportunities which are being offered by Nestlé and Forden to be able to make the first start in their working lives as well. And that means concrete action from governments. So yes.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Tayson, there's still challenges in many member states. Could you tell us the top 2 things that the Commission is doing to increase the uptake of these youth schemes?
Well, what we do is to improve and to stimulate to have good quality offers. And I think that's important. I don't have to repeat all the reasons why. If we want to give good offers and to offer nice opportunities to young people, we must make sure that the offers are quality offers. And therefore we have this, the quality framework for apprenticeships and traineeships and so on. So it's about content, it's about the working conditions, it's about transparency of payments. Okay, we can say it must be paid, it must not be paid, but if we make it obligatory to be paid, it's not the competence of Europe, by the way, but then it might be decrease the amount of possibilities. But anyway, we look at the content and we look at also at the funding side, because we know that it has a cost. So we try to stimulate the implementation of the commitment of the different member states, the commitments under the Youth Guarantee and under this Alliance for Apprenticeships by the Youth Employment Initiative with this 3.4 billion euro that we front-loaded also from the other budget years without the necessity of co-financing for the member states with a higher and never-seen pre-financing level of 30%, which is really a precedent in the European Union policies. But we also have it's also possible to make use of the European Social Fund money and of the microfinancing opportunities. There were some people that make a startup, that started their own enterprise, because also that is employment opportunity. So we can look at different funds in Europe and make the best use of them.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. We've come to the end of this panel. I'd like to thank all of the panellists and everybody who took part in it, and I think it's been really valuable to bring together the founding members and some of the young people and the Commission's perspective as well. We're now going to see a short video. Just last month, the Alliance for Youth organised a workshop in which young people gave their perspective on what the Alliance and governments can do. So let's have a look at that.
Europe was not only a map, it was an idea, a fantastic and marvelous idea. Welcome to the Parliament.
This is your place to discuss and give your input.
We need stronger connection between companies, governments and universities.
It's a win-win strategy between the intern, apprentice or trainee and the company.
A recommendation that I would have is to facilitate in schools more awareness about apprenticeships and internships.
To create and fostering an environment to address the cycle of lack of skills.
Companies need to provide feedback to students, to be like a coach or a mentor, so students can learn from their mistakes.
It is important that we have some guidance, but it is important that we prove our value and in any case that we fight for our dream.
We have actually advanced to have this type of important debates. And not only between companies, young people, government, school, universities, but even here in the European Parliament. Because what you were discussing today, this is what we are really discussing every day.
We have to make this snowball effect where we can also count with a lot of more companies, so this will be bigger and we can continue with this movement.
The fight against youth unemployment cannot be done by the European Union and its member states alone.
Please do more of these sessions, more of these workshops, because this is something that is very needed.
There are too many who unfortunately do not know about this program. Spread the word.
I'd like to introduce our new panel. With me now we have Stefan Kuhn from EY, Chris Chowary from Salesforce, Simone Innocenti from AXA, and the CEO of Cargill Spain, Jose Mateo, also joins us, and Commissioner Tayson is staying with us. And, lucky you, a very special welcome to the Latvian EU presidency representative, Inesa Kalvani. Thank you very much for joining us. Inesa, I'd like to start with you. Collaboration between policymakers, schools and employers is a common theme that keeps recurring here. How can the presidency support this collaborative approach? And as we've heard, most of these initiatives at the moment are regional.
Yes, collaboration is a very important thing, and if we are talking about youth employment and unemployment, that collaboration is the first thing which we have to start with. Different employment and education initiatives are taken at different levels, including regional level, depending on member states. Some member states are going into a direction of better coordinating their action, thus promoting regional and professional mobility within the country. Member states have increasingly started to collaborate with different actors when delivering different measures for youth employment. We're collaborating with NGO as well. The public employment services in EU play an important role for promoting cooperative approaches on the ground, for example, by establishing regional level social dialogue structures and by disseminating information about labor market situation and on the skill needs. The public employment services in EU play important role for promoting cooperative approaches. For this reason, the network of public employment services was created in 2014. And the network, previous mentioned network, supports its member in the implementation and monitoring of youth guarantee. And mutual learning between member states in this respect is very important, as well as impact evaluation of measures carried out.
Thank you very much, Inesa. We're going to now see the second part of our survey results by Nielsen, so please let's have a look now. From that the majority of employers say that the Alliance for Youth has improved their practices in relation to recruiting young people, and that the majority of apprentices are transitioning into permanent employment. So it's clear that the Alliance does lead to a fundamental change in the way that young people are being recruited. But Jose, I want to come to you now. You're from Spain, been in the press a lot with the issues of young people finding employment. What's your experience?
The Alliance really addressed the problem of youth unemployment, a phenomenon that unfortunately is absolutely very familiar within Spain. Cargill, being part of the Alliance, is trying really to find solutions for this problem. I think, to me, what has been remarkable the last year, or the first year, let's call it in that way, that Cargill has been present as a partner for the Alliance,
is the great collaboration between partners. We are sharing best practices, we are learning. I cannot really say that we are alone here, we are together. I think that I want to remark here as well, we are learning a lot from Nestlé Spain, my colleagues from Spain. They are really showing us a little bit how we can work together. And it's unbelievable when you do the checklist between partners, what can you do? Everybody is doing, I hear the words patchwork. Everyone is doing a lot of things. And Nestlé is really leading that really in the right direction. I think for Cargill it's extremely important and relevant to create job and development careers for young people, and not only for Spain and Portugal and the south of Europe, it's for the entire Europe. So we are really committed as a company to work in this direction.
Thank you very much, Jose. Now, we've got a number of young people who have what this really boils down to, an internship which leads to a permanent job. Now, Cynthia, that's your experience. Tell us about what happened to you.
Thank you. I would like to start saying that Italy has a very high youth employment rate, and for our country it represents a very big issue, and we need to deal with it. Regarding my personal experience, after my graduation, I started working in AXA with a one-year graduate program called the Future AXA. I had the opportunity to do 3 job rotation in 3 different offices, and I had the chance to put in practice the learning by doing method, working side by side with managers and experts. Even if the insurance sector is highly regulated and complex, I had the opportunity to give my contribution on giving my ideas and also giving my contribution. Now I have full-time jobs and I work with the team and I work on different strategic projects and innovation. And finally, I can say that my contribution is high valued in driving innovation.
Thank you very much, Cynthia, and congratulations. Now, Simone, Cynthia is an example of an intern at your company at AXA getting a permanent job. What else is the experience, if you had briefly, at AXA?
Yeah, as a global head of talent development, first of all, I would say that I truly believe with all my heart that internship and an apprenticeship are essential to fuel and to boost the talent pool we have in our company for the future and the success of each of our companies. The youth will help us to change our culture. The youth will help us to survive in the new digital era. And this is the reason why we need to put a huge, and we have put a huge effort in developing people like Cinzia in Italy and everywhere around the world where we operate. If we look at the results of the survey and we look at the data that are coming from our operating companies around the world, we truly believe that we are almost aligned with the figures that we have on the research, and we will more and more invest in the youth generation by enriching the pipeline, keeping contact with those people who might not have a job right now, but they have been part of our pipeline because they might be in the future part of the company as well.
Thank you very much, Simone. Stefan, you're a big employer at all levels, including interns. Could you give us your perspective on what could be done across Europe as a whole?
2 recent examples of apprenticeships which were created at EY, and then a recommendation to the Commission. The first is the UK, where university is costly and often unaffordable for students. We created a school leaver program where we offer experiences over 5 years, various different experiences, mentoring, tutoring, and at the end, a certificate by EY. The second one in Germany and Switzerland, where we have institutionalized by law school leaver apprenticeships. We have created a dual study program where students switch back and forth between university and EY every 3 months and get the bachelor after 3 years. Now, the recommendation to the Commission is to create ramifications in all member states to create a school leaver apprenticeship and do a study apprenticeship, because both of them would help small and medium-sized companies much more than they help us.
Thank you very much, Stefan. I want to come to you, Tom van den Candelare, because we're hearing about some of these real success stories, but the reality is, isn't it, we still have 4.8 million unemployed young people in Europe. What are we missing? What more could be done?
Well, I'm inclined to say that it's the economy stupid, basically. I think that must be, or could be, the tagline. I think we're recovering from one of our worst crises ever, and we're trying to do, at European level, to do our utmost to get past this crisis. The European Central Bank has low interest rates, QE program. We need to get away from the economic standstill, and that's where I think that we need to spark investments. Governments basically need to create a fertile soil for all kinds of businesses that want to create further investments. When I see that Nestle has one of the biggest R&D networks in Europe, I think that's applaudable, because R&D delivers in the future new jobs. Next to that, we need to continue our efforts to bridge the gap between skills and jobs. And I think we're on the right track there. The Youth Employment Initiative is delivering results in this very city, Brussels, where for the first time we've gone below youth unemployment rates of 1992, so actually even before crisis period. But we need everyone on board. We need private sector initiatives as the Alliance for Youth. I think this is very applaudable, really. And in the end, it's up to each and every one of us to take an initiative and to look for opportunities to offer basically the young generation of Europe new chances.
Thank you very much, Tom. I want to come to you, Mia Petra. Could you tell us about the Finnish experience here?
I'm glad to. I must ask that what are we doing if we are talking about the young generation that is the most educated ever in Europe? What are the employers thinking that if they are still unemployed, are we having the image of Europe and its companies and public sector also that we are not looking forward, we are living only this quarter and then what? So in Finland, I must say that having heard the young people to talk in different countries, Finland cannot benefit those monies of the Europe. We haven't hit that high, but there's a strong support for that, because we see that as a continent we cannot see forward if we have that much of young unemployment. But in Finland, we have the young guarantee for everyone under 25 years that you should be able to, after 3 months, whether find a job, find a traineeship or find an education. And it's also including everyone under 30 years if you have a fresh education, because that's not economically thinking wise way to do the educate people and then don't give a job. But I want to emphasize very good ideas and results also when it's rooted in the down local level where the public, private, NGOs, church, small companies, big companies are really working together. So I would conclude the attitude is everything, how the companies and the society want to see this problem.
Thank you very much. Now, we've been talking about skills generally, but actually there's a massive focus on digital skills at the moment, aren't there, Chris Chury? And I want to ask what Salesforce is doing to help young people into work with the right digital skills that's needed for your business.
Sure. So I'll give 2 data points that I think really speak to the opportunity around developing digital skills. One, 90% of the data created in the world was created in the last 12 months. The second one that's kind of specific to Salesforce, but I think gives you a sense of what's happening, is there was a study recently in the UK by an independent third party that 50,000 jobs will be created between now and 2018 just around the Salesforce ecosystem. That's a lot bigger than us alone. So the 3 things that we're doing to kind of really build up the digital skills environment. One, we're leveraging the power of our employees and philanthropy, giving back. So we have a 1-1-1 model like many companies do. And our employees, a lot of them are now giving back to an organization, a charity in Europe called Coder Dojo. We sponsored something here in October at the Coding Week around this, but it's basically a roving classroom that people in this room can sponsor, they can lend time to. And it's educating 6-year-olds to 13-year-old kids on how to code and exposing them and getting them into this digital environment. So we think it starts there. And then two other things that we're doing sort of at the secondary school level, we're providing training on our products and platforms to secondary graduates who are unlikely to go on to university, vocational training to let them go out and find jobs with us or in our ecosystem. And then finally, we have a university program called Future Force, where we bring people in and quickly integrate them into a digital company and a digital environment. So I think it can come at all levels, but it's a big opportunity.
Thank you very much. Brando Benefi, you recently visited a Nestlé digital team in Milan. Do you have any recommendations that have come out of that visit?
Yes, I recently visited the Nestlé Center near Milan, and I got acquainted with people working on different topics, on different fields, apprenticeships, internships, and permanent young employees. And many of them, not only the people from the digital center, also people working in other sectors, they were involved with digital skills, digital literacy in their daily work. This is really interesting because so many industries are dealing with more traditional fields, in the case of Nestlé, more on food mainly, are involving and employing more and more people that need to have good digital skills in every field of the production and of the work of the company. So I think this was a clear example of the need that we have for investing more on digital skills for young people, also from our public policy point of view. And obviously the Alliance for Youth is an important contribution from the business sector on this aspect of the digital literacy. It will not be sufficient, this, to solve the whole crisis, the youth unemployment issues that we were discussing today, but it's an important contribution. We need to do our work all together, and as it has been said, we need to connect the dots. So it was a very good experience for me.
Thank you very much. Eva, I want to come back to you. You are an e-skills ambassador for Bulgaria, and you're also very active on the proposal for a European digital single market. Will that proposal actually create more jobs? Briefly tell us your view on that.
The campaign that I've decided to join as one of its ambassadors is in response to the growing demand for ICT skills professionals, which is currently not met in Europe. I'm a very big believer that e-skills are needed for Europe to embrace the digital journey that we are currently experiencing in the digital revolution, just like we need the right entrepreneurial skills. And making these two, together with entrepreneurship, a part of every course, I think will definitely contribute to the rapidly changing economy we are currently facing.
Thank you very much. Now, Claudio, you are an entrepreneur with a startup that's supported by Google, and these digital skills are part of your everyday reality, I imagine. Tell us what kind of skills you think more young people need to be able to support the kind of business that you're running.
Well, me as an employer, what I look for on top of anything are three main things: are self-confidence, honesty, and the most important one is happiness. Is the one which is impossible to find. Afterwards will come motivation and skill learning and anything. Everything else will come afterwards. Initiatives like Google Activate in Spain are a good example of what needs to be done, and that's what Google needs to do. But for small companies like us, we're willing to take the risk of employing unexperienced young people. We are willing, and that's what we have to do because we cannot afford experienced people. But we cannot afford unexperienced people. So that's why I would like to propose three things that I would like to see changed in the future that would really change the small business ecosystems, which are simplify bureaucracy, subsidize employment, and have a little bit more tax permissiveness for small companies.
Very concrete suggestions there. Thank you, Claudio. Alan Glasky from the European Brands Association. What kind of skills do the brands that you work with need to continue to innovate into the future?
Well, as a father of 5 millennials, I'm delighted to take that question. And we've got also our 3 things, as the gentleman from Google. And I would say brands need ACEs. Attitude, character, education. The right attitude, the right character, the right education. Attitude is about the hunger to learn and to bring fresh ideas that will help brands keep in touch with the very fast-changing times and society. About bringing ideas that their managers wouldn't dream of. Character is integrity. There I join you completely. And because brands are built on trust. In terms of education, brands need scientists, nutritionists, engineers, marketeers for the digital age, sustainability experts. The good thing is that many of our member companies rank very high in the rankings of great places to work. And that gives us a fantastic basis for the joint initiative we've launched with the European Youth Forum, which we call Skills for the Future, and which is about youth employability.
Thank you very much. We're hearing, Inessa, some very clear messages about the kind of skills that are needed to move forward here. What's being done about this under the Latvian presidency?
Yes, I can disagree that digital skills are very important for all of us, not only for youngsters, for adults too. We live in 21st century, but being competitive in today's labor market means having other job-related skills as well, such as foreign languages, networking skills, interpersonal skills, and ability to adapt to changes. And what is very important, very important is to know what we are looking for and to find the right way how to get this information. And this is a time when I'd like to speak about the service which provide each public employment service in the member states. I'm talking about career counselors. Career counselors always help people to find the right answer, which job suited me more, and what qualification will bring me happiness, richness, and welfare for family.
Thank you very much, Inessa. We're coming to the end now. I want to speak to 2 of the young people here. I've got Maria here from Adecco and Evelyn here from CHEP. Maria, I just want to come to you first. You were an intern. You're now a permanent employee at Adecco managing a Way to Work program. Could you really briefly tell us about that?
Right now, I was an intern. I now work giving internships and opportunities to youngsters. And I would say my advice is to really look at the bigger pictures, focus on employable skills, and what's more important, search for work, any kind of work experience as soon as possible, and get out of your comfort zone. Take every chance to learn.
Thank you very much, Maria. Evelyn, tell us from your perspective at CHEP, what do you think needs to be done to support young people in your position?
Well, during my studies, I went for an internship at CHEP. And when I graduated, I started immediately looking for a job, as Maria said. This job search was not easy for me because I didn't really know where to start looking. And my focal point at that moment for me was to find a job in a very short time. So I started applying at some very large, well-known companies, where I ended second a few times in the recruitment process. So for me, that was very frustrating. So I took a job as a part-time temp. And during that period of employment, I kept searching for a different job, a different function with more challenge. And the fact that
I'm going to have to cut you off there because we've completely run out of time, but I hope that people can come to you and find out more about your experience after the reception. We're on a tight schedule. I just want to come back to you finally, Commissioner, for your final thoughts and recommendations at the end of this session for how we can tackle this issue across Europe.
Well, I must say, as politicians, we are not always allowed to be happy, but you told us to be happy, and I must say, after having heard all this today, I am happy. I'm not compliant. I think there's no time for compliance. We have too many young people unemployed, but we can see that we can give them opportunities. We can, if we collaborate between the educational world, between with enterprises, with politicians, with the right use of the money, we can do something for our young people. And of course, with the young people themselves. So if we all work together for the same vision, if we have an exchange of experience, we want to learn from each other and we can show the good cases, I think we are on the right track.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Thyssen. I have to end there. I'd like to thank my panel so much for joining us. A special thank you to Eva Pavanova for hosting us and to Commissioner Thyssen for staying with us, staying on the panel all the way through. And of course, to all the MEPs and young people and employers who've joined us today. I think it's been really valuable to bring us all together. I hope it's really going to lead to more progress and momentum for this important work. Thank you very much.